Hi everybody, it's me Jill and welcome to Jill Informed. This is my pumptini-sized mini recap of Vanderpump Rules, Season 10, Episode 9, Forbidden Fruit. All right, we are in Mexico for Scheana and Brock's wedding, and we are picking up right where we left off last week. It is the welcome dinner, and James and Ariana kind of getting at each other. Ariana yelled at him because I guess one of Brock's friends came up, put his arm around James in a drunken way. James didn't know who he was. Listen, I'm not on James's side with this because James is a well-known person now. I mean, that's just a fact. People know who the cast of Vanderpump Rules is, and when they see him in public, I'm sure they get approached. And this guy's drunk, throws his arm around him. I get that James didn't like that. I wouldn't like it if a stranger did that to me. Yes, James didn't know that it was a friend of Brock's and he's in the wedding and all that. So anyway, I guess James overreacted and kind of, shoved this guy hard and it got physical. I don't know. Ariana didn't like that and kind of let James know that. James is defending himself to Ariana. So they had a little thing at this dinner. It was so uncomfortable that Allie walked away. So Sandoval says to James, sometimes real power is having the power to do something and not doing it. In James's confessional, he's like, okay, what are you, Uncle Ben from Spider-Man now? Oh, with great power comes great responsibility. F*** off. So Allie went back to their room, and I'm kind of surprised James didn't follow her. But he's still sitting at the table. Anyway, now we check in with Schwartz, who is in a suit and slides as he heads to a restaurant. There's like a French restaurant that must be at the resort. That's where he's going to meet Katie. This is their, they are going out to dinner because they want to celebrate that they just sold the house. And I don't know, also their anniversary, like what would have been their 6-year anniversary was just a few days ago. So maybe that too. Schwartz goes up to the host stand and he's like, reservation for 2 under Bubba. And she's like, I'm sorry, I don't understand. Schwartz, oh, I used to call my ex-wife Bubba. It's more Bub now, but oh, there she is. Oh God. Okay, Schwartz. Katie looks beautiful in a little red dress, and they go sit down at a table. And I'm going to go off on a quick tangent here for a second. Schwartz is educated and very smart, and he hides it behind his boyish good looks and his aw shucks charm. In my opinion, he has learned that he gets away with stuff by acting like he's just a lovable dope. I would say he's arguably the most intelligent member of this cast. And I know, you're going to say that's not saying much, but I just watched him on Watch What Happens Live. He was on with Rob Lowe's son, and his vocabulary is broader than most. Just saying. I'll go into what he said about Scandoval in a second, but here at this dinner with Katie, it's a French restaurant. And so, like, at first he starts singing, that song, Alouette, Gentille Alouette. He starts singing that, and Katie's like, did you just make that up? And he's like, no, it's a song. Then they get their drinks, and they're going to make a toast. And Schwartz is like, here's to getting back on the hedonic treadmill. And he kind of laughs, and Katie's like, what? No, let's think of a better one. Okay, here's the thing. I didn't know what the hedonic treadmill was either, Katie. So I looked it up, and here's what it is. It's a theory of an observed tendency that humans have to quickly return to a relatively stable level of happiness despite major positive or negative events or life changes. So, all in all, it was a pretty clever, kind of a cute joke to say, hey, here's to getting back on the hedonic treadmill. Sorry, Schwartz, you can't say stuff like that and then pretend that you're an idiot. Katie's like, let's make it better than that and just say, here's to selling our house, as bittersweet as that is, and to us. I liked the hedonic treadmill better. I should say that Schwartz goes back to his act by, in the middle of Katie's, sweet toast, Schwartz is like, oh, pulls his phone out and he's like, I had to get it out of my pants. They're too tight. And then, Katie finishes and right away he's like, and to us, maintaining a good friendship. And I gotta tell you, this suit is killing me. It's too uncomfortable. So real quick, the Watch What Happens Live episode, Schwartz is asked, of course, the question about when did he find out about the affair. And he said August. And Andy's like, that's not what you told me before. You said January. And he goes, well, here's the thing. In August, he knew that they slept together. And he said, I didn't know it was like a linear thing, but he basically thought it was like a one-night stand or a mistake or whatever. Then in January, Sandoval told him, I'm in love with Raquel. Yeah. He also told him that he and Ariana were having problems because another question was, why didn't you tell Ariana? She was a good friend to you. And he said that he believed Sandoval. He said that they were having problems, and according to Sandoval, they were all but broken up anyway, or they were about to. And he said that he told Sandoval, you need to tell her and you need to break it off with her before this goes any further. And Sandoval agreed, but then didn't do anything about it. Schwartz said it wasn't like he followed up on it because he had a lot of stuff going on in his own life. He was concerned about finances with opening this restaurant. That was weighing on him heavily. I guess his dad was sick, and then he said his brother almost died, I think. So he was being distracted by a lot of things in his own life and didn't follow up on that. He also was asked about the trip to Big Bear, and he said that, first of all, that was a Tom and Tom trip. That was us going to go there. And then he invited Joe. And then he said something like, at the last minute, we smuggled Raquel in. Because at that point, I knew that Raquel was like Tom's heroine. Then at the end of that whole episode, Andy asked him, is there anything you want to say before we, end the show? And he's like, just that like Tom knows that he's a monster and he did this horrible thing and he knows it. And mostly it was how people are going overboard and getting like, I guess people are getting too aggressive in public. Like somebody saw Sandoval in a bar and they were going to throw beer on him and stuff. I don't know. But he just said that, just maybe like if you do see Tom, give him a hug because, he's really low right now. Oh my God. Even Rob Lowe's son laughed at that. Okay, so back to the welcome dinner. Scheana goes off to go mingle with her other guests, and James apologizes to Ariana, and he asks for a hug, and she gives him one. Side note, I can see now that it's just Lala and Christina Kelly and Ariana and James at the table. I know Allie went back to the room, and Scheana is now mingling with other guests. I just have to ask, where did Raquel and Sandoval go? Oh boy. Okay, well, it doesn't take long for Katie and Schwartz's dinner to go south. Schwartz even at one point says, I've been a great husband, Katie. He actually was asked about that on Watch What Happens Live, and he never answered that question. He basically started by saying that the marriage was not all bad, and we had some great moments. They weren't caught on camera. Everything good wasn't caught on camera, something like that. But he never really did answer why he was a good husband. In Katie's confessional, a producer asks her, have you ever analyzed why Schwartz never took your side in an argument? And this was actually pretty sad. Katie said, only that I think he just didn't like me. He might have loved me, but I don't think he liked me. All right, so Allie does come back to the table, and Scheana comes over and invites her to go on the catamaran the next day. And James is like, yeah, Lala's not going on the boat tomorrow. She just said she might not go. And Sheena's like, what? And Lala goes, I might not. And so Scheana got really upset. And to be fair, when she was at lunch with Brock and Scheana, Lala said, hey, look, I'm fine being around Raquel for the big things when a lot of people are going to be there. But if it's going to be too intimate, I'm going to bow out. And they were like, yeah, that's fine. So Sheena's mad because she's like, there's going to be over 20 people on that boat. It's not like you can't avoid her. But to Lala's point, she didn't want to be out at sea, stuck on a boat with Raquel. And I kind of get that too. It wasn't a huge boat. Anyway, Lala's mad that James brought it up like that because she was going to talk to Scheana about it. She said she was feeling a little bit weird. She does go like chase after Scheana now. And she tells her, I was just not feeling great. And I didn't want to be like a negative vibe. This whole weekend, this is about you. And I wanted you to have the best time ever and all that. So Brock says, she feels like Katie didn't want to be here, but it's like you're taking Katie's side now by wanting to like hang out with Katie. So anyway, Lala says she will go on the boat. Katie has left the dinner with Schwartz, got up from the table, didn't eat. And he's like, oh, come on, Bob, come on, don't go. Katie, no. But she leaves and he stays and eats his dinner. Once she gets back to the room, she's texting Christina Kelly, I hate him and things went horrible. And Christina's like, okay, I'm on my way. So Christina gets back to the room and she's telling her all about the dinner. And Christina's kind of like, well, this just sort of reconfirms why you got divorced. And, she's like, I know, but it's just, he doesn't ever take my side. He's going to take Brock's side. He barely knows him. He probably hangs out with him 3 times a year. Yet at the pool party, I'm part of the wedding, so I'm going to go talk to Katie and take your side. And anyway, as they're talking, there's a knock at the door. And they're like, oh no. So they go and look through the peephole. It's Raquel. So they open the door. They're like, what do you want? And she's like, can I come in for a second? They're not so sure at first. And then finally they let her in. And oh my God. Raquel, Scheana asked me to tell you that because you didn't book a preferred room, you don't have access to the preferred pool. Yeah. We get a flashback to when everyone first got there and they're in the lobby. Scheana's like, okay, who's going to be the bridesmaid that tells Katie she's not invited to the preferred area? And everyone's like, not it. And it's comments like that make me not so sad for poor Scheana when the mean girls come after her. Because she can be pretty mean on her own. And this isn't the first time she's proven that. Anyway, I guess Raquel drew the short straw, or she was the only one dumb enough to do it. So here she is, doing Scheana's bidding. She's like, she doesn't expect you to be there when we're there doing wedding activities. Okay, now get this. Christina Kelly said, is it just Katie or me too? What? Why? What, are you going to leave Katie in the room? You weren't invited to the wedding, Christina Kelly. You're in Mexico because you're Katie's guest. Raquel goes, I don't think she wants you there. And Christina goes, because I would like to sit down and have a conversation with Scheana and, hear her out. Okay, so Raquel joins the party now. Everyone in the wedding is like having drinks now in the preferred area by the preferred pool. And she tells Scheana that she just went to talk to Katie. And Sheena's like, oh, you did? What did she say? And Scheana has this smirk on her face. And in her confessional, Scheana said, to be honest, me telling Raquel that she had to go tell Katie she wasn't invited to the preferred area was a total joke. But the fact that Raquel actually listened is so savage, and I'm here for it. Okay, so the next day, the guys are doing something different, and the girls, it's just the girls who are going on this catamaran. I guess it's sort of like bachelorette parties. Thank God Allie had a white bathing suit because there appears to be a dress code. Everyone's in white. Oh, fun. I guess there's a dress code for the guys, too. Speedos with Brock's face on the front. In drag, I guess. Is that it? It's like Brock in makeup? In James's confessional, he said, I consider myself a man of the world, I've lived in London and Ibiza. So I understand different cultures. I'm all for it. But I've never been into this, let's smack each other on the asses and wear Speedos and let's take some Viagra and some kangaroos. Oh, future cringe alert. Schwartz and Sandoval are talking and Schwartz is like, that girl over there is cute. Why does it still feel illegal to check out girls, Sandoval, Ariana and I check out girls all the time. And guys, who cares? Well, I think it's the fact that you've done more than just check them out. And if that's not bad enough, then Schwartz goes, is that Raquel? Sandoval, no. Do you wish it was? And Schwartz goes, I mean, she's beautiful. I just can't. I don't know why. I just can't. Sandoval, I get it. Do you? Because I feel like you don't. All right, back on the catamaran, Lala and Allie have their little talk. We saw this in the mid-season trailer, and it's a lot more tender than I thought it was going to be. It definitely feels like a very different vibe than when Raquel was warning Allie about James, but it still is kind of a warning about James. I think Lala was telling her that, she goes, I don't know you that well, but I really do like you, and you have to be smart about James. Be your own person. And what happened last night was tame compared to like how it could get. And, I'm thinking now that she only had 1 month of sober James and now she's dealing with drinking James, it's maybe not entirely wrong to try and warn this little creature. Although, you know what, you guys, there's a part of Allie that's very different than Raquel. And I think she kind of knows. Like I always say, like, I can't believe she tolerates all the petting and fawning and kissing that James does. He's like very like, on her all the time. Like that would drive me nuts. I think it actually might be driving her a little nuts, but she's smart enough to kind of be calm about it. And she doesn't want to upset him. But also I think she's aware that something's a little weird about his behavior. I could be reading into it, but there are just times that the look on her face isn't just like one of adoration or something. I think, I don't know. We'll see. It ended up, like I said, being kind of a tender moment with Lala ending up in tears. So that's sort of unusual. Then we go back to the guys and we get to see Schwartz striking out with some girl. Yes, he's using pickup lines like, oh, I like your eyebrows. And I just recently got divorced. So, yeah, shocked those didn't work. Meanwhile, back at home, we check in with Lisa and Ken. Lisa said, Scheana just called me and they're having a great time in Mexico. And then she tells Ken that she's afraid that Greg thinks that the boys shouldn't have gone because it looks like they're on vacation, even though Scheana's a longtime friend and it's her wedding. Lisa thinks that she and Ken should maybe meet with Greg to let him know what he's getting into with these boys. This conversation bothers me only because it feels a little manipulative. Well, not this one, actually. This feels like this is the real Lisa. She's telling Ken, the boys want to open in 10 days and they don't even have a kitchen staff. And he's like, oh. So they're both laughing at how crazy that is. Lisa's like, I think they have at least a few more weeks before they can open. What feels manipulative was the conversation she had with the Toms before they left, where she was encouraging them to be strong and stand up to Greg because it's costing them every month $25,000 in rent or whatever. I don't know. It feels like she's playing both sides here. Okay, back in Mexico, it is time for a white welcome wedding dinner party. I don't know. I thought they had a welcome dinner already. Now this is a welcome party. And it's also an all-white party. The dress code is all white. It's outside, I guess, by the pool. It's in a beautiful area outside. And it is also right outside one of their restaurants that Katie and Christina Kelly have chosen to have dinner at the exact same time that this party is happening outside. And Lala has decided to have dinner with them. In Raquel's confessional, she talks about Christina Kelly and Katie like having a front row seat to like the party outside, and the two of them are just sitting there at their table. She compares them to those two old men Muppets. And then, you guys, she reenacts it as the Muppets using the big puffy feathery sleeves of her dress in what can only be described as the best thing I have ever seen Raquel do.
Having fun and being so lovely with each other. We hate fun. We hate love.
I need more of this. Oh, okay. So I guess Christina Kelly had her little talk with Scheana. She's telling them over dinner, and Lala goes, you did? Did you know this? And Katie's just like, I couldn't really read her. It kind of seemed like she didn't know, but then maybe she did. I don't know, whatever. We get a little flashback to the meeting between Scheana and Christina Kelly, where Christina acknowledged that Scheana never did anything to her and that she never really gave Scheana a chance. And Sheena's like, thank you. So Christina is telling them, I said some things 7 years ago about her first wedding that she has never forgiven me for. So meanwhile, outside, that party is going strong. There are fire dancers and colored lights and drums that you splash colored water out of, and there's live music. Oh, God. And James and Allie are so weird with each other. James wants to do their spinny thing. Let's do our spinny thing. And Allie has no idea what their spinny thing is. And he's like, come on, And apparently it's some kind of dance, or maybe just that they hold hands and jump around and spin in a circle. I'm not sure, because even after demonstrating it for her, it doesn't seem to jog Allie's memory. She's like, oh, okay. And this is what I mean by her, maybe kind of being on to the fact that James acts a little manic and stuff like that, because she was not into this. And he almost got crazy, which I've seen him do, I think, with Raquel, where if he feels embarrassed, he kind of goes off. And he's like, I know you're embarrassed, but now everyone's looking at me anyway because you're not doing it with me. He didn't go there, but he almost went there. It's just, they're awkward. Now we see Scheana and Brock and Tom and Ariana. They're sitting at this table that's kind of like in the pool. Like they took their shoes off and it's just in a little bit of water. They're, chatting, and Ariana's like, where's Lala? And Scheana goes, oh, she's at dinner with Katie and Christina Kelly. And she was mad because Lala said she would do all of the big things, but not the small, intimate things with Raquel. And she's like, oh, what could be bigger than this party? There's so many people here. To Lala's point, there's so many people there, she doesn't think she would be missed, but it isn't that Scheana misses the fact that Lala isn't there among, 150 people. It's that she knows she's choosing Katie over her, and that's what's bugging Scheana, So now Sheena's looking for Schwartz because she wants him to make out with someone now more than ever. And he comes over, and here comes Raquel. Future cringe alert. In Ariana's confessional, she said, I can literally see Raquel's ears perk up at the sound of Schwartz is going to make out with someone. Oh. Again, wrong Tom. I guess Schwartz had told Sandoval about his dinner with Katie and how badly that went. And they're like, you gotta stop trying with her. And he's like, oh, come on, Katie's my girl. They're like, no, she's not your girl anymore. They don't want to call her Bubba. And he goes, no, I call her Bub. That's the platonic version of Bubba. Sheena's like, don't call her Bubba. Don't call her Bub. She's not your girl. Sandoval's like, I don't want her to come to our tastings anymore. Oh my God, are there more tastings to go to? Haven't you guys tasted all the food there is to taste by now? Just open the damn restaurant. During the dinner with Lala, Katie, and Christina, Schwartz comes by. Yeah, stops by the table and he's like, oh, hey, Baba, can I ask you something? Put your earmuffs on. Christina's like, you literally want me to hold my hands over my ears? Because, if you need to speak privately, we can go. And Katie's like, Tom, just say what you need to say. Yeah. She may be sorry she asked him to tell her what he needed to say, because what he needed to say was, can you trim my armpit hair? I'm not making that up. Can you trim my armpit hair? According to Schwartz, it grows quite long, and Katie has helped him out in that area in the past. And I guess Schwartz feels like he doesn't want a little thing like divorce to get in the way of her continuing to provide that service for him. Oh, God. I don't know. I think this is his way of trying to be silly and maybe break the ice with Katie a little bit. But Katie's not... Here's the other thing about Katie. I don't think she has a great sense of humor. She doesn't strike me as somebody who thinks things are funny. In fact, I'm kind of remembering that the things that Katie thinks are funny are mean things. If somebody's mean to somebody else, that might get Katie to laugh. but not necessarily Schwartz's silliness. So, of course, Katie's just like, yeah, I'm not doing that. Katie's like, ask Brock, your best friend that you see 3 times a year. You know, one of those 3 times, ask him to do it for you. So, yeah, he kind of slinks away and they're like, bye, Schwartz. Lala's like, why do I kind of feel sorry for him? God. And Katie's like, because this is what he does. And he charms people. And then everybody is on his side and nobody is for me. And Lala's like, no, I have your back. And she goes, other than you, yes, you do. But like, this is what he does. So now Schwartz is outside with the others and Raquel manages to pull him aside and get him off to this like little table that's kind of away from the others. And Schwartz is like, Raquel, are you trying to seduce me? And Raquel goes, why? Do you feel seduced? And he goes, a little bit, yeah. Then from across the pool, you hear Brock, make out. So now James and Allie join the girls in the restaurant and chat with them. We cut back to Raquel and Schwartz, and Tom says he's just so tired of everyone trying to coerce him into making out with Raquel that he kind of just wants to do it now. And he tells her, and they're like, they both say that, yeah, like it wasn't a thing until everybody like put it in their heads and wants them to do it. And Raquel's like, now it's all I can think about. And he goes, oh, really? And they blame Katie because, you know, Katie made Raquel like forbidden fruit. No, dude, she just asked that you be respectful enough to not make out with someone in the friend group. You know, that girl that you were so weird with at the party earlier, make out with her. Katie wouldn't care. Schwartz is like, Raquel. And then he leans in and she leans forward and the rest is history. And so is this episode. Yeah, guys, that's where we end. I guess next week will be the wedding, but anyway, thank you for joining me. I hope you liked this recap. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please do so. And consider clicking on the bell icon to be notified every time I publish something new. If you're an Amazon shopper, I am an Amazon affiliate. If you go through any of the links in my description box below, I will get a small percentage of any qualifying purchases that you make. That's it for me. Thanks again. I love you guys, and I will see you next week. Bye.